Mm-hmm. Hold on. Oh, I'm still scanning. I forgot I got to put this last set of stuff in here. Yep. All right. Office a little messy right now, but we gonna be all right. All right. So I'm still scanning. Still got to scan. Where is it? There we go. And of course, it would act up this time. Oh. I tell you, the Raven scanner is okay, but I still prefer my Epson. I mean, not Epson. The brother, because this thing has a hard time. You know, sometimes it doesn't catch, and if you put too many pages in it, it really has a fit and stuff. But it's doing its thing. So scanning the rest of them. Good evening to you. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good to see you. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Man. Yeah, I had to. One of the things when you're doing these lives, you have to set a lot of stuff up. You got there's a lot of background stuff you got to set up, and like right now I'm doing my scans and stuff on the Raven scanner, and this thing sometimes can be a little slow and stuff on my way to my last signing and stuff. So it can be a little bit of a pain, you know. And then, and just so y'all give y'all a little tour in the background. So like when I'm doing the YouTube, you really got to set some certain things up. You know, your title, you got to put your description in there. Um, you can select playlist what you wanted to go to, which I always forget sometimes. Set it on where is it? Fritter Friday, which I don't know why they're saying podcast, but it's not. And then you set your age restrictions, whether it's altered content like AI stuff, set different tags in there that you want. You know, if people are searching for it, that's how they'll find your videos, um, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, you can add other things in here. What else? Business ownership. And you can just add different things. So all of this, then hit save on that. Then you got to turn on monetization so they can run the ads and stuff. Because YouTube always want that. They don't do that automatically. So you have to go in there and do all of that. So sometimes that stuff, you know, getting all that stuff set up can take a minute and everything. So that's why sometimes I'm running a little behind and stuff because I'm trying to get all that stuff set up. And if you don't, then YouTube don't like it and all that kind of good stuff. So all right. All right, scan is done. Whew. And I need to set the who this is going to. I forgot who I did this order for. So what's been going on with y'all? Yeah, it's a lot to set up. Yeah, it's yeah. Who is this here? Network Transaction Solutions. All right. So network transaction solutions, and then put the person's name in there. Business law. And it's still processing. Yeah. Yeah. I have a chauffeur right now. Yeah, I've been hustling. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm at like, I got two more to do. I think I'm at 27 or 28, might be 26 appointments for this week. I won't say that's a long a high, but might be, but it's a whole bunch. All right, so I'm just double checking. All right, send that to my folder, and then I just got to upload that to the people so they can review. Um, it said it's been a busy week for me. They had me driving everywhere. I almost drew a message to add. I leave the house. I serious. I know. Yeah, I did a $35 appointment this week. I did a $40 appointment this week. Um, yeah, I did a little bit of everything. I'm serious. I Right now it's just taking all that you can take and making the best of it. Um, yeah, so yeah, I had a $40, $35, a $50. Um, what else? What's some of these other low ones, people? Another $50 one. But then I had a lot of orders that was over 75. 120, 150, 100, 125, 100, 100. No, yeah, 100, um, 100, 105, bunch of 85. There's a 75. Last month I did $5,250. Yeah, $5,250 on SnapDocs, and it was 58 appointments, which comes out to, when you divide it, it averages out to $90 a pop. So the question is, what's wrong with $90 a pop? You know what I'm saying? Now, you don't want to do 58. Now, that was just SnapDocs. I ain't even count how much I did with signing order. So I don't know what the dollar amount is with signing order, but let's look at how much I did with signing order. Matter of fact, I can show y'all this on screen. And let me move this off the screen. So last month, October, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So looking at that with the 58 from snaps plus that 23, that right there is 81. Between those two, that's 81 that I did last month. Okay. That's 81. Um, that's shoot, I didn't realize. Okay, that's 81. And then let me take a quick peek at signature closers. So let me look at what I did in October for signature. So I only did 3 in October. Yep, 1, 2, 3. So that right there is 83. I'm 84. That's 84. And then let me look at what I did for my direct clients. Hold on one brief moment. I have to log into this. And we're going to get to our topics. And feel free to throw your questions in there concerning those topics or anything else. If you got any questions you want to ask me, feel free to ask. Um, I will I will answer it somehow or another. That's all I can say. I will answer somehow or another. All right. So October. So now remember we had 84. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that right there, so that there is the 84 plus 11. So that's 95. Um 95. 95 appointments. 95 appointments. I didn't realize I hit that many. Whew. I've been doing good, Christopher. I've been doing real good. I've been doing real good. So 95 appointments, and that's not even counting any general notary stuff. So I probably was close to 100, if not 100. Um, and that's between signature closers, snap docs, and my direct. Okay, signature closers, snap docs, direct, and signing note. I'm sorry, those four. So, right, that's in a month. That was in last month. That's what I did last month. Okay. So, hold on one second and just give, because I couldn't show y'all some of this stuff because it got people's information in there and all that kind of stuff. Um, all right. Okay. That's in there. All right. Hold on one second. Oc- October. All right. So, just so y'all can see, um, so here's the snap docs showing October summary. Okay. And when you run the numbers, all right, 5250 divided by 58, that's $90. So that's $90 a pop. So right now, my average has been about $90 a pop. When I add in my what's from SnapDocs, when I add in my other stuff coming from especially my direct, I'm probably at 100. I'm averaging close to $100 a pop per order. I can't complain with that. I'm serious. I mean, now I know not everybody is getting that, and I know people are getting better than that, but that's what I'm allowed. That I won't say allowed. That's what I'm able to get. So either I roll with it or I don't. So either I complain and whine and cry about what I think I'm supposed to get, then or I just go or I just keep working. Said, what's the average payout for those? And I just told you, yeah, $90. So well, I would have to say probably close to 95 because my because last month I did several appointments for 150 or more. I had a couple of 200s. I had well, no, that was 200 this month. I had a $400 one. So what was that this month? I can't remember. No, it was last month, I think. For a $400 one last month. So they paid me to go 200, like 2.5 hours out. They paid me 400. I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. There was another one they wanted me to go about an hour or so out. They paid me 200. I said, no problem, I'll do it. You see what I'm saying? Correct. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's 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 about correct. Yeah. And all this is just me going out there taking the orders that are available. Some will be higher, some will be lower. I mean, I don't, so when you're talking about notary pay and fussing about what you're not getting, I don't know who set the standard and said that we have to be paid or have to get this particular dollar amount. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's like, they need to pay us more. They need to pay us dot dot dot. And I'm like, okay, so who said that? Where is that written that any of these entities are going to pay us this amount? Who said that they have to pay us this amount? Who set the tone? And you know, this been a complaint from day one that I've been in the business for 7 years. It's always they're not paying us enough. But the problem is no one ever goes to these companies and talk to them about it. Everybody wants to form these groups, collectives, coalitions, associations, whatever you want to call them, to make somebody give you something without ever having a conversation with the people. The leaders of these groupings, I'm gonna just call them groupings, they get us stirred up and angry about what they say we should be getting. Well, you're not getting this. Okay, there might be a reason. Well, they're just trying to screw you over. Did they say that? Well, see, cloud signing. Okay, that's one company. One. What about the rest? Well, I'm just saying. No, 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 no. Give me some proof. That's why I did that video. Give me some proof. Because to me, if it's that egregious, then we need to be taking legal action. And what legal action are you willing to take? That's the question. Now, let me show y'all this, and then I'm gonna give y'all a story about taking legal action. Okay, a little griff story time here. All right, so let me pop this up because I got to cover up some information. So you all right. So let me do it this way. And okay, and I got to show y'all the dates so y'all can see. Let me see if I can. All right, I'm gonna have to zoom in a little bit. Got to zoom in a little bit. All right. All right. Okay. So y'all can see that some of them were canceled and all of that. All right. So just so y'all can see, okay, because people think I be lying. Not maybe not y'all, but other people. All right. So this is my SnapDocs profile. What I got currently coming up. So tomorrow I got an 80, a 95. On the 10th, I got 100. Then here I got the 11th. I got the 12th. These are the fees that y'all see. Hopefully y'all can see them. Hopefully it's not too small. Let me know if it's too small. And then I have to turn off and then zoom in a little bit. Okay. Those are canceled. That's completed for 100 that I did. That's 120 that I done. 125 that I did. 85, 85, 40. Still got paid 95. The person didn't sign. Completed. That one. 120, 150. This is SnapDog. This is a signing company. Okay. This is a signing company. Hold on one second. Look like I need to zoom this in a little bit more. All right. Make sure y'all can clearly see it. I'm not going. Hold on one second. I want to make sure y'all can actually see this. Okay. And this is, and I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to show y'all because so many people act like you can't make money with signing companies and SnapDocs ain't paying nobody. Okay. This is what I did on the 4th, the 3rd. This is October. That one 160. That one I had to go back to. I had to go back multiple times. Okay. I had to go back to a couple of times because there was some errors there. But this is what I'm doing. So the question is, what makes this bad? What makes this not doable if you're willing to work that much? I get this is something that is beneath you if you got money coming in from elsewhere and you only want to do a few appointments per month. This would not suffice. This isn't going. No, you need higher fees because you don't really have the time to work that much, or you just don't want to work that much. So you need higher fees. This one here was 25. I don't know why I got 25. I might have been just a print fee. I think that's what that was and stuff. Okay. So that was all the way through the 22nd. Okay. These fees are out here, and everybody thinking that, oh, the only way you can get decent fees is that it has to be through a direct client. The direct clients can pay you more, but it doesn't mean that they're going to always pay you more. And then the question is because, like, there's times where my direct clients, it takes them forever to get the documents together. I got one client, the way they have to go about doing it is they literally have to send their documents to an attorney for review. Even though the document has been put together, it doesn't matter that I'm supposed to meet the person at 2 in the afternoon. If the attorney gets the documents at 9 in the morning, whatever thing they got going on, they're like, well, we're not going to be done reviewing this until 4. It is what it is. Or 1 o'clock. And then they give me the documents. I get more delayed documents from my direct clients than I do from my signing companies. But then on the flip side, I do get delays with the signing companies. And it's not even the signing company, it's still the entity of who? The title company. And that's what y'all got to understand. So when it comes to notary pay, why don't you have a conversation with the people instead of trying to get people riled up? I've done video after video about the simple fact that we are business owners. We cannot collude to try to force somebody to pay us something. There has to be fair competition. It's called the Sherman Antitrust Act. Look it up. Now, if you don't want to look it up, then that means, in my opinion, you don't really want to be a real business owner. And you might be offended by that statement, but if you're trying to be a real business owner, then you want to do things the real business owner way, which means you have to compete for business. Not we all are independent notaries and then we're going to collude together to make them pay us a high fee because we don't want to compete with one another, or we just don't want to compete at all. And that's really what's going on. And then you have people out here getting you all riled up, talking about we're going to go after this person and go after that person. Think about it. If they're willing to go after a multi-million dollar company, $1 billion company, what makes you think they won't come after you if they don't like something you do or have done or said? What makes you think you won't be in their radar? What makes you think they won't turn on you? Come on now. You talking about working with somebody or a group of people who are turning against the people who are paying you all of that money that I just showed you. So I'm getting $9,500 and you want me to now join with you to go after them, and I'm satisfied with what I'm getting from them, and I'm getting more and more, maybe not higher fees, but I'm getting more opportunities, which comes into a higher total amount of money that I'm making, and I'm okay with that. But you're saying I shouldn't be, and now you're turning on them because of your failure to be able to work with them, and now you want to force them to do something for all of us. And how am I supposed to trust that you won't ever turn on me? What if I say, you know what, I don't think we need to pursue it anymore? What if I say something like, hey, I'm good with where we at. I think I'm not going to vote for this year that we asked them for an increase. I'm not. I'm good. Are you going to turn on me? Are you going to come after me? Because I'm not supporting your agenda? That's the question. And see, here's the thing. When we have these groupings that's asking for money to get paid, okay? And feel free to throw your comments in there and ask me any questions you want concerning anything, and we'll hit the other topics that I put in the thing. But and right now we're talking about notary pay. You got to keep in mind this grouping of notaries, they would have to have an agreement with the title and the lenders, because now the question is really who we're going to have it with. Are we going to have an agreement with the signing company, the title company, or the lenders? Which one? Who are we really going to have a agreement with? Because right now, our agreement as independent business owners is with the signing company. So the signing companies have to agree to be in agreement with this grouping of notaries and say, my signing company, EJ Signing Company, is going to pay the notaries of this grouping ... Because that's what it has to be. And then we have to do that for each and every individual group. Because if the signing companies aren't in their own association, which means they will have to be, and if they're not, if you want to get all of them to do the same, then that means they have to be in their own association. So that means you have to have this association of notaries and this association of signing company owners. Oops, that thing open. And this association has an agreement with that association to pay X amount of dollars. How are we gonna do that? What's the plan? What is the plan to do that? And now you're talking about going after people legally. Why would I want to do business with you? Well, you ain't talking about going after me legally. You're just talking about going after me. But in order to go after people, you really need to do it from a legal standpoint, not from a we shall overcome, or we just gonna march on the building and make you pay us. That ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. It didn't happen. It didn't work in January. January 6th, it didn't work. They did it, but it sure enough didn't work. A whole lot of people went to jail. A whole lot. So let me give you a story real quick. Okay. And yeah, happy notary day to y'all. Now, here's the thing. Let me say this real quick. Happy Notary Public Day doesn't apply to everybody in this business. The reason why I say that, and I know I'm being cynical and petty with this, but a lot of people don't call themselves or consider themselves notary. They consider themselves loan signing agents and notary signing agents. And they look down on the term notary public. So to me, if you don't consider yourself a notary public, then there's nothing for you to celebrate. It's that simple, because you don't call yourself that. That's just food for thought. All these people that run around from the day after Notary Public Day to the day before, I'm not a notary public. I'm a loan signing agent. I'm more than a notary. Okay, so on our day, keep your hind parts away from us. It's that simple. You can call it petty all you want, but I'm just stating the facts. You said you ain't a part of us. You not like us. You not like us. So carry your not like us behind over there and have your own little special day. So here's a story about dealing with stuff from a legal standpoint. Okay. When I was in the Navy, I injured my knee really, really bad. And I didn't realize it was that bad for several years. But I got hurt playing basketball. Me and a guy knees collided. So years later, I get married. Then we have children. And the whole time there was this little thing that was just floating around on my actual patella, on right on the top. And sometimes it would go on the side and stuff. It would slide up, slide down, but it was like just this soft, squishy thing. It would get hard, then it would get a little soft. I didn't know what the heck it was. I never went and got my knee looked at, any of that. So when I was married, my sons are getting older, not too much, it's like, walking and crawling. And I'm trying to get on the ground and crawl with them, and I couldn't put any pressure on that knee. I said, man, this is painful. This hurts. I said, I need to get this looked at. So we got it looked at, found out that it was something called a bursa sac. It was ruptured. They said that's why I'm suffering with so much pain in my knee. Only when I put pressure on it. Now I can walk, I can run, I can do whatever I want. I can go lift weights, all of that. I used to do powerlifting, all of that didn't bother me. But if I wanted to put pressure on my knee, if I wanted to crawl, that's a problem. I could not. I could not crawl. So I go to the doctor, I get surgery and all that good stuff. Now, prior to me getting surgery, there was a young lady that was in the Navy with me, and we just happened to be talking one day. I'm not gonna say her name, partly because I can't remember her name, but I think I remember her name. But we was talking, and I remember her specifically telling me, she said, I'm gonna get pregnant, get off this ship. I don't like it. I don't like being on this ship. I'm getting pregnant. I'm getting out of here. I said, okay, okay, whatever. Lo and behold, I did not know that her tubes were tied. So fast forward several months, I get my knee surgery. I come back to the ship. I said, hey, here's the paperwork for me to take convalescent leave, which is free leave that I get to take to recuperate. And they denied it. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, we need you on board the ship. I said, but I can't bend my knee. I mean, my knee is stiff. I mean, literally, like this. I mean, I could not bend it. They said, we don't care. You got to be on the ship. I said, well, then I said, well, I'll just take my own personal leave. They said, well, fine, take your personal leave, but we're not giving you convalescent leave. So I take the personal leave, I go recuperate, start back, getting my mobility and all of that. It was so bad. My knee was so stiff, my whole leg, and I had lost nerve feeling. So the doctor told me, he said, you're going to lose feeling in your leg. Even to this day, I don't really have feeling on my outside of my right leg on the outside. I don't, I mean, I sort of feel something. I feel more when I, pinch away from it, but right there, smack on this in the center part of my left knee, right knee on the outside, I feel nothing. Inside, feel it all day. He told me, you're gonna lose nerve feeling. So I get back to the ship. I'm upset. I said, man, this is wrong the way they did me. I find out the reason why they denied me to take convalescent leave was because of the young lady from several months earlier. She went and got her tubes untied, but she lied to the ship, to the command, the ship, and told them, oh, I'm going for some other procedure. Well, there's this thing that they send out to commands that say, hey, these people from your ship, your unit came to us for medical attention, and this is what they had done. And when they saw that she had something done that was not what she told them, they went off. And yes, she got pregnant and she was taken off the ship. So then here comes Griff and other people with medical things that we needed convalescent leave for, and they told all of us no. Out of everybody they told no to, I was the one that said, that ain't right. I go to try to figure out how to address this legally to get my 15 days back. Give me them days back because they're mine. I should have been given the time to relax. They said, nope. I go and talk to some legal people there. I'm thinking these legal people are for, that's going to help me. They said, no, we only protect the captain because it was the captain who said had the final say so. I was like, well, this ain't right. I go to my doctor. He said, no, it was not right. I find Navy regulations that said this isn't right. You can do this. However, there's a caveat in there that if there's a need, a military, a government, or a Navy need, or need for your unit or your command, that you have to be there, then they can deny it. Here's the problem. If I was in such, if it was so important for me to be there, then why did you allow me to take my own personal leave to recuperate instead of forcing me to stay there and say, no, you can't? So I end up coming across an attorney that wasn't a part of my command. I asked him these questions. I showed him my paperwork. He said, they did you wrong. I said, so how do I address this? He gave me a blueprint. This is why I keep saying, if we're going to go after an entity, you need legal representation. So I said, well, what should I do? I said, you just tell me what to do and I'll do it step by step. And he told me, he said, I'm going to tell you everything you need to do. He said, you cannot tell them that I'm helping you. And to this day, I purposely allow myself to forget that man's name. I don't even remember what he looks like. But all I know is he was in a position to help me. And he recognized that when I presented the material to him and said, this is what the Navy regs say, this is what they said, this is what happened. He said, okay, based on this, if this is true, they are incorrect in what they did. Because if they said they needed you on board the ship, they should have never allowed you to take your own personal leave to recuperate. And that's against Navy regs. So this wasn't so much about, it wasn't real personal. It was, they did wrong because this is what the Navy regs say, and they violated that. So I had to go through a 6-month span of time of addressing it with different entities and submitting different requests. And then it came all the way down to me talking to the attorney one last time. And he said, okay, you got all your paperwork together. You've had this witness testimony, talking to these people and this person and that, this, that, and the other. He said, now go to the captain of the ship and present it to him and the request to get those 15 days back. I said, no problem. I went and presented it to him, set up there in his big fancy office stateroom where he slept at, real nice. And he looked me straight in the face and said, "Look, I support my lieutenant. I'm not backing you, a second class petty officer, or for those who are not in the military, E5, over an O2 or O3, whatever he was." And he admitted, he said, "I see what you're saying. And yes, you're right. You're right. We was wrong, but we're not changing it. Because to change it is for me to say that he did something wrong, the lieutenant who I gave permission to do this to you. So no, I'm not going to back you. I'm gonna back him, even though I know you're right." Mm-mm. I said, "Okay." My attorney, quasi attorney, what he had told me was, he said, "Once you talk to the captain, if he flats out denies you and tells you no," he said, "no problem." He said, "There's nothing more you can do except take it above his head if you want." I said, "Well, who would I go to?" He told me where to go. He said, "Go to Navy Legal. They have to, if you lodge a complaint against the captain, you want to write him up for dereliction of duty or whatever." He said, "That's who you got to go to." So I got all my paperwork together, had a stack about that thick, and I walked over to the military Navy Legal the Navy Legal from while I was in the military, and I talked to them. I gave them my paperwork. It was all in order. By the time I got back to my command, the captain had been given a phone call and he was walking that ship himself looking for me. I'm not lying to y'all. I find him, he finds me, or we find each other, to be honest. And he said, "We need to talk." He pulls me off into this corner that I didn't even know existed, where it was just me and him and no one else. He said, "Look, yeah, I got a phone call from Navy Legal, and what we're going to do is," he said, "you're about to get out the military anyway. And by the time we go through the process to give you all 15 days back, you're going to be gone. So what I can do right now is I can sign," he said, get a request, get a request to get back to 7 days, get 7 days, and I'll sign it, and that'll be to you in about a week." He said, "Will you accept that?" Now his before he was like, "I ain't doing nothing for you." Now he's like, "Will you accept me doing that?" Because it was up to me to either, I could demand that I get them 15 days back or take the 7 so that I don't have to have my time extended in the military, because basically my time would have had to be extended in the military in order for me to get those days back. And I didn't want to stay in anymore. And he said, "Which one you want?" I said, "I'll take the 7." Filled out the thing. He signed it. I got my 7 extra days back. I got 7 of those days back, or the 15. At that point, it was just about getting a win. Now, during the whole process, there were other people I spoke to. "Hey, this is a problem. Hey, this is a problem." And they all what? Admitted and agreed, yeah, but none of them wanted to fight. See, it's nothing wrong with having a grouping of people who are upset about something that's not being done, like notary pay or what have you. But do you really want to fight? One guy knee got worse because they made him stay on the ship, and he didn't want to fight for himself and he was scared. So he just kept doing it. Okay, fine. But I did what I needed to do for me. And sometimes you got to fight the fight by yourself, and then other people will benefit from it. I'm cool with that. And there were people who told me don't do it. Matter of fact, there was people that told me if I did it, they like, "You better get out because we got something for you." There was threats and everything. I was like, "All right, cool." But I had proper representation, and I fought it from a legal standpoint, not an emotional standpoint of I need to pay my bills. Oh, I've spent all this money to be in this business. Oh, it's not equaling up to what so and so said online. It was strictly, here's where you violated the law. And I could not ascertain that fully until I got proper legal representation. That's why I keep saying all this stuff people talking about going up against the NNA, going up against these different signing companies, title companies, and lenders. You as a person hold no weight to go up against them. You can read all the data you want about them, but you got to find out what's the legal way to deal with it. You can accuse somebody of not sticking with their charter, but do you really know? You can assume it from an outsider looking in toward it, but you don't know. So now this way you got to get legal representation, and guess what? That costs money. So how do you get the money? Also, now you need the people who you want with you to pay some money. Who are we paying this money to, and what we're getting out of it? Because I'm not about, because if we ain't getting money out of, if people think if you think you're not getting anything from the NNA, what am I getting from this other grouping of whoever to pay you money? So now I'm paying money to them and I'm paying money to you, and I'm paying money to two entities that's going up against each other. I'm gonna have to pick sides. And if I leave the NNA alone to be with you, what do you have in place that's going to continue to get me work? It took Griff 6 months of fighting with an attorney to get 7 days back. You're talking about thousands of dollars that people might be owed from cloud signings. It ain't gonna be no easy battle. Do we have the money, and do we have the people who want to testify? And then the question is, did the people who aren't getting paid, did they do their job right for cloud signings? Maybe cloud signing had a justification as to why they didn't pay them. Maybe there was something that they did wrong. We don't know, but that's where discovery comes in at. See, you can't get discovery until you issue a lawsuit. So now you got to issue a lawsuit, and the judge got to find just cause and say, you know what, you're right. They did you wrong. Well, they did me wrong based off of what? These legal things, this agreement, this contract. It has nothing to do with emotions. A lot of the stuff that's being said out here is all about the emotions of what we're not getting in this business. See, if y'all was getting paid consistently every week or every 2 weeks or within 30 days, the money that's owed to you for what you did, that you did for those orders, would you really complain? Yeah, it might be 85, but hey, I did seven $85 orders, and I got them in about 2-3 weeks. You wouldn't really complain. It's the how long it's taking, which now means we got to have a conversation. Why is it taking that long? Oh, you don't want to answer me? Okay, Mr. Miss Judge, can you have them tell us why it's taking them so long to pay us our $85? We see in discovery that they got paid that they got paid on this date, but they took this long to pay us. We need to figure out why. I've already talked to y'all about a thing called Prompt Payment Act. Go search it. Prompt, PROMPT, Prompt Payment Act, meaning to promptly get paid. Each state has one. Arizona has one. You need to go. That's where you get all this legal shield stuff. You need legal shield. Go talk to an attorney. Ask them. But see, that's a part of the fight that nobody wants to be a part of. I want somebody to fight for me. But when people fight for you, it's going to cost you. It's not only going to cost you in the attorneys, but it's going to cost you in the person who's speaking on your behalf to the attorneys. The person in charge of the group. And can we definitively rely on the person in charge of the group to stay here and not go ghost with all that money coming in? I'm just being real with you, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but this is a valid question that you have to ask. When I'm putting my business life in your hands and I'm saying you need to represent me, see, they can fight for you, but the question is, will you monitor the fight? Because if you're just going to close your eyes and just let them fight and you don't know what the heck's going on, that's a fool. I'm going to monitor, and I'm going, okay, what are you doing? Okay, you need to give me some updates. You need to give me weekly status updates of the fight that you're doing. What do you mean there's no update? Okay, it's been 3 weeks and you keep saying there's no update. What's going on? Okay, let's have the attorney do a Zoom and talk to us and tell us what's going on. Because I'm clearly not getting anything from you. Now things start changing, because now I done left the entity that was getting me business. I'm with an entity that can't get me business. Because see, all this arguing fussing y'all want to do, How are you getting me business? During the 6 months that it's going to take to fight this. During the year it's going to take to fight this. Come on, somebody talk to me. All right, let me go to these questions here. All right. My question is, how do you determine what's a fair price? When does a price become fair? So many variables. That's the question. See, that's the hard part. Nobody can definitively say what is fair because what's fair to a man like me, who is a sole bread. When I won't say so, my wife does her business, is a primary breadwinner for their family versus a single male or a single woman versus a married couple who's living with their in-laws who said, don't worry about paying rent, just get yourselves together. You see what I'm saying? There's all these variables. So what's fair for one is not for the other. And that's just something that you have to determine within yourself as to say, this is what I believe is fair, which means you got to have some goals, which means you got to understand your finances, all of that. And a lot of people don't. So what be deemed fair? Don't know. It says one state to another and one notary's fair threshold versus another fair threshold. A price is fair when there's an offer and the offer is accepted. Correct. So people have made offer. Look, I got $150 to do a reverse mortgage earlier today. Then there was this last minute, it said buyers, but when I got there and started going through the documents, it was really a commercial loan. There was no deed, it was just a commercial loan, which some people paid me $300 to do. I only got 100. Then next week, I got a reverse mortgage application for $150. So is it fair that a business loan, a commercial business loan paid 100 and a reverse mortgage application is paying 150? But what I do know is I got the orders. You didn't. So what's fair to me is the fact that I made money. That's the fair part to me. I made money. Now let me see what else I said I was going to talk about. So notary pay, taking legal action, shutting down the NNA. I don't know why people can't understand that you use or you associate with an entity for what you need, for the bare minimum of what you need. I only use the NNA for the certification that they have convinced other entities that they need to have, that we need to have in order to do business with them. I don't buy their stamps. I don't buy their marketing material. I don't buy any of their courses. I don't buy nothing that they sell off of there. The only other thing that I did buy, and I'm probably going to cancel, not renew, will be their hotline membership. And the reason why I sort of like it because they have certain things inside there that I use to do research on, like the US reference manuals, things of that nature. When I'm doing my notary certificate training, when I'm talking to other notaries, I'm able to get in there and look at the US reference, which shows me more detailed information about the state laws. So, from that perspective, even though I don't use the hotline to get answers anymore, there's other benefits that I see. So, that would be the only reason why I would keep it. But all of the other stuff, I don't need a conference to motivate me to do this business. I don't need a conference to go so I can go see this person and that person. I don't need a conference. I've never been a conference person. That's just not me. Now, if you just need to be in the mix all the time and you just want to use it because you really want to just travel, well, then that's on you. And you can't whine and complain about what you didn't get because you really just wanted to travel in the first place. And you just wanted to go out someplace where you can get drunk. I'm just being real with you. I've seen the pictures. Woohoo! Everybody, oh, all right, everybody getting lit and hooking up. Come on now. Come on. Too many pheromones out there. Too many people that got some bad relationships. And then they like, oh, I saw you on Instagram. You looking good, girl. Okay. You're a thick one. Mm. Ooh, you got a lot of muscles. I didn't realize you were that muscular. Mm. Girl, I'll catch up with y'all later. So don't act like people ain't doing that stuff. And they doing some other things. Okay? It's just that simple. Human nature. But from a business standpoint, I don't see a need for it for myself. I really and truly don't. So to fuss about what they're doing and why they're doing it when they aren't even paying us for any of the work that we do, they don't pay us a dime. See, I could see if they were paying us money, getting the orders but they not. So why am I fussing about an entity that I don't even have to be associated with? Or if I do, it's only on a minute level, and I'm getting upset because they decided to have a conference and they decided to charge. So now I'm going to make them do it for free. For what purpose? When I don't have to go. Now they can do it for free. I still got to pay to get there. What purpose does it serve in the grand scheme of things? Because see, what I would like to see fixed is, of course, late documents, but we understand why they're late because the places are a little understaffed. A better frequency of getting paid. Going after the NNA doesn't fix any of that. It doesn't. Better communications, ensuring that people support us in following our notary laws, because there's things that we shouldn't be doing, but the title companies and lenders ask us to violate our state laws. Like one of them is stamping the ID verification paperwork, where it asks for the notary's information, and then they want us to put our stamp on there. Matter of fact, let me pull up one. I'm gonna pull up one real quick. Hold on, because I just did one tonight. Hold on, let me pull up one real quick. So y'all can see what I'm talking about. Let me find that daggone thing. Let me find it. Okay, you not there. Hold on. Now, what are y'all thoughts about the pay, the notary pay? Give me your thoughts. Because I'm not saying that it's 100% fair. I'm not saying that something that it doesn't need to change. Nope, that's the wrong one. What I'm saying is we need we need to approach this from a more mature and sensible manner so that we're not sitting up here burning bridges. There's a way to approach people, and we have to find the proper way. Oh, there it is. I think it's in here. Okay, that's instructions. Okay. Sorry it's taking so long. And I ain't gonna lie to you, when you start doing so many of these things, you have thoughts in your head and then you be forgetting and stuff. All right. All right. All right. So this is what I'm talking about right here. Making sure nobody's personal information in there. This document right here. This here, well, let me just stay in the middle. It's asking all this, and right here, it's asking for our notary seal. The thing is that this is what we teach in the notary certificate training. This is not a notarial certificate. It doesn't have any of the elements that our state wants. This is not a notarial certificate. but they want our signature, they want the date, and then they want us to put our stamp here. What for? Well, we just want to make sure your stamp is valid. But there's 11 documents that I'm about to stamp so you can see it. It's not like I'm filling this out first and then sending it to them 3, 4, 5 days ahead of time. But even if I was, I'm still not supposed to just be randomly stamping my document. Oh, well, all you got to do is put a line through it and initial it. Does my state say that invalidates my stamp? That's the question. Does my state say I'm supposed to allow? Is that legal? And when I did a deep seek question about it, I asked, I said, am I is lining through and does that invalidate the stamp? Everything that I've researched says no, it does not invalidate your stamp. They say that just to get you to do it. See, if you're going to fight for anything, fight for people to respect your notary laws. That's what you have to fight for. What's the difference in pay from title companies and signing services? The pay is typically, see, that's a hard one because I got companies paying me $150 and they signing companies. I got some companies paying me $150 and they title companies. You see what I'm saying? So see, here's the thing. Who said that your pay from a title company has to be higher than a signing company? Because there's nothing out there that oh, hold on 1 second, y'all. Hold on. I just thought about something. I need to upload this scan back. I'm chopping it up with y'all. I forgot to upload my scan back. Let me do that real quick. Let me upload my scan back to them and stuff. All right. Yeah, documents. And let me upload the scan. I just thought about it. I was like, oh, I got to do the scan back. All right. That. And drop that over here. All right. And upload the ID. Where is that? Here. And where's my man at? There we go. Rename that. ID. Him and the witness. All right. Yep, I forgot to upload the scans. I was all pumped, ready to talk to y'all, and then download that, save that into the folder, and where the heck are you at? There he is. And save there. All right. Okay, come on. All right, and then I just need to drop this over there, and then I'm done. All right. Close that. Close Adobe. Close all tabs. All right. And mark my scans complete. All right. So I'm back. Okay. So that, I mean, it depends on where you're at. Some signing companies can pay you more, some can pay you less. It all depends on the contracts they negotiate. So it depends. It honestly depends. I've had title companies call me and will say, hey, we only got 10 pages for this sellers. So how much would that be? I say, 150. Oh, that much, huh? Oh, we was thinking like 60. 150. We'll get back to you. Okay. I had a signing service ask me if I was comfortable explaining the document response. I'm not legally allowed to give basic. I'm only allowed to give basic general information should the signer have a question called. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. And see, even with this here, show me documented proof not from some TMC trainer, mentor, coach that says we're supposed to explain documents. Now they've changed the tone. Instead of saying explain, they're saying guide. But here's the thing, and you did right. Here's the thing. If you go to a trip to the Caribbeans or anywhere, you have a person that's called what? A guide. One of the things the guide is supposed to be able to do is what? Answer your questions when they have one. They're guiding you from this place to that place and back. And during that time, they are giving you a general overview of, hey, this here's the rainforest. This here is a snake that you don't want to mess with. This here is where the alligators live at. They give you a general information about that. But then there's specifics that you may want to know. And typically the guide has the ability to answer those questions. A guide who can't answer your questions in your mind and in mine is not a real guide. Because I don't need generalities, I need specifics. And a signing company wanting you to do something that's outside the scope of your notary commission is wrong. You see what I'm saying? It's wrong. Why are you asking me, do I feel comfortable explaining the documents? Define explaining the documents. And what documents are you talking about? Because there's over 22,000 different title companies. We don't know what they're going to present to us. And again, when they provide us, and I'm going back to the NNA being shut down, when we get an order, nobody talks to us about what the document's going to look like. They don't give us a preview of nothing. So you're telling me that while I get selected on the 1st of November to do an order that's on the 20th, from the 1st through the 19th, I'm just out here doing whatever, and nobody talks to me. Nobody gives me any clue or hint as to what kind of closing this outside for is the document structure. I don't get to review the documents before y'all send them to me. And you send them late. And I'm supposed to just go on the fly and be able to just make sure that this person is comfortable. Some random notary that just gets selected out of a pool of. I'm the random notary. Hey, explain the documents. Explain the documents. Explain the documents. Explain the documents. That's literally what it is. Toothpicks. Explain the documents. And we don't get to see anything ahead of time, but we're expected to be able to do the job of all these other people who put the documents together. Yeah, I agree. We should be getting paid a heck of a lot more. Because you can't sit here and say, I'm going to just pay you 85, but I expect you to do the job of all these other entities who have put this together and know what's going on. And I want you to do it to the point to where you never have to give them a call and ask them anything because you know how to get them through this here. I'm not an escrow officer. I'm not a title officer. Well, you're a notary signing agent. Not according to my state. That's not what I was commissioned as. Well, you took this training and that labels you that. But your training doesn't supersede what my state commissioned me to be. Well, if you don't want to do this, we just won't be using you. Okay, then don't use me. Then I just go find something else to do. Why stick with something that's going to constantly put you in a position of failure and getting in trouble just to make them feel good because they made a promise to somebody that you would do something that they never even talked about? Think about it. They're making a promise that the notary, who they don't even know they're going to pick, they don't know who they're going to pick. They don't know. They know who they might like to pick, but they don't know whether you're going to be available. And they're going to say, you ought to do this, or we're going to promise that they're going to do that. Nah, bump that. No. And like you said, that document didn't have notary verbiage. So if it doesn't have a proper notary verbiage, then why am I putting my stamp on it? So this whole thing about shutting down the NNA, remember, anytime you And we'll just say, I get this thing straight from my foot. Anything that people are used to or addicted to, when you take it away from them, you have to replace it with something comparable. Because the NNA, the conference, all of that stuff is a real dopamine fix. It really gets people dopamine levels up to be able to, I'm going to there and I'm gonna see my favorite notary. I'm gonna see this person and that person. Okay. And people tell me, well, Griff, you should go because people they like you and they will. Yeah, but I don't agree with the stuff that they're going on. And it's real, a lot of times it's not even so much the NNA, it's some of the people who they have speaking. Because some of the speakers they have, I don't think truly embody what the NNA stands for. I don't, because if you take their courses, what they teach in their course isn't what the NNA teaches. It's opposite. So how can I go and listen to somebody who's teaching opposite of the organization that I'm a part of? I'm not a part of that TMC's organization, but you're coming into my organization, the National Notary Association, and you're talking some stuff that they don't agree with. So now I'm looking funny at them, like, why are y'all letting this happen? And I'm the type that will say something. Excuse me, why are you saying that when you teach dot dot dot? Why are we letting this person teach us this? I ain't got time to be getting arrested. So what's the point of me going and getting myself in lockup? Although I grew up in Florida, so I know some folk down there. But nonetheless, it's not worth it for me because the stuff that they're saying on that stage, that's what the NNA, I guess, wants to have spoken so they can get the people to come. So it's a win-win for them, but it's confusing the notaries because the NNA says this in their training, but you said this in your training. This don't make sense. So which one do I follow? Know us, if you're part of association, it should not confuse you to the point that you can't follow your state laws. And that's what's happening. I don't care whether the NNA stays afloat. Because guess what? I'm going to do what I need to do. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Listen, lean in here. What y'all don't realize, and none of these people who are trying to put these little groupings together, if the NNA did fall apart, those signing companies and title companies will still use notaries because what they're going to do is only use the notaries that they have confidence in and have proven to them that they know how to do the job right. And guess what? That whole term of signing agent, loan signing agent will go away if the trainers went away. It ain't like it's going to stop. Oh, well, because there's no NNA and there's no trainers, there's no mentors, there's no coaches, the whole mortgage industry going to stop. See, the problem is that people think that the NNA and these trainers are the mortgage industry. They are not. They're outliers. They're not a part of the mortgage industry. The mortgage industry, the notary industry of doing notary will survive and can survive and will always survive without them. I don't care that the NNA been around 100 years. We can survive without them. There are tons of notaries who are doing great work out here and they have nothing to do with the NNA. They have nothing to do with any of those TMCs that we have out here. They don't have anything to do with me and they're doing great. There's notaries that I come across that, oh, hey, I seen you on YouTube. Yeah, you good. But they don't follow me. They don't listen to me. They're not a subscriber, nothing. But they out here doing their thing because they understand how to do their job. And the people who they're working with appreciate that and they are happy with what they're doing. So the question is, can you as an individual be the notary that people love and appreciate? Do they have confidence in you? And they can have that confidence in you without you ever associating with any of these groups. There's a time and place for everything. And for some people, they might have to associate with a group for 2 or 3 or 4 years, might be 10 years, or might be never. It's okay. It is truly okay. But when you start asking me, to partner with you to go up against an entity to shut them down, what the heck did they ever do to you? And why do we need to shut them down when we can choose not to be a part of them? I don't have to do loan closings. I can get in here and do estate planning. Nobody said that I had to be NNA certified to do estate planning, did they? Did anybody say I need to be NNA certified to do field inspections or anything? No, it's just this loan closing thing. But there's ways to work around it, because if you go and have a conversation with the owner, you're like, hey, look, man, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, look, I ain't got time to be doing all this NNA certification stuff. I mean, I'm good. Can we? Yeah, all right, cool. So I work out my own deal, and he said, you know what, between you and me, you got to worry about that. I'll tell my people to pick you. Because it's not like the notary databases are going to stop people from selecting us just because we don't have NNA certification. If the person wants us, they're gonna pick us. But then guess what? You don't need to. They ain't gonna get you out the database. We'll just call you directly. There's nobody that says that that can't happen. It can. You just got to do what it takes to get there. That's what I've done. That's what many others done. I got a closing on the reverse mortgage loan application, paying $150. Well, guess what? It was set for 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't do it. I told them, I said, sorry, I can't do it at 1 o'clock. They said, what time can you do it? I said, probably 3. Okay, boom, they call somebody. Next thing I know, okay, everything's good. You can do it at 3. All right. Now, instead of them giving it to 150 to somebody else, they said, no, we want you, Griff. We want you. And if we can find a way to make it work, that's what we're going to do. I said, all right, bet. And this is a signing company on signing order. So you tell me, why do I need to kick it with somebody who wants to go into battle? I didn't join just to be fighting with people. Give me your thoughts. Seriously, give me your thoughts. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings about this? Oh, my man Greg, he said, actually, there's no reason to address the NNA because it's not the reasons. The one person is pointing out the reasons to go after them is false info and validation, right, of everyone and an issue they already lost on, right, about the background checks and all of that. And that's where I'm saying this is where you do what? Get legal representation to address that with them even the more and provide more evidence concerning that. I don't know all the details. I know what you shared about it, but outside of what you shared, I've never even looked into it. And that's fine. But anybody, if you when you're going up against an entity like that, it can't just be because you sat there in a daggone library and went online and read up some stuff about them. You got to pull in the big guns and be like, yo, how do we, this is where this at and what laws are they violating? Is there something in my state that says, hey, you're doing such and such wrong? Because they operate in all 50 states. So if you're talking about shutting them down, now you got to look at shutting them down in all 50. Okay, you want to shut them down because you don't like something they did. How does that negatively impact the whole the other notaries? Because now you have to convince the signing companies, the title companies, and the lenders that the notaries that are out here don't need the NNA certification. You have to convince them that, hey, it's okay to use these notaries anyway, even though they don't take the NNA certification. Which means now you got to change their business model. You got to convince them to change their business model. How do you go about doing that? And again, these are private entities that you're talking about going up against that can run their stuff the way they want. People have talked about, oh, they need to give cost of living increases. They're not responsible for the cost of your living. They come up with something. They say, hey, we're going to pay you $3 to take this water and move it from your hand to the hand of the people who need it. We're going to give you $3 for each one you do. Well, there's a cost of living, it costs more. We're giving you $3 from this hand to that hand. You either do more or you go somewhere else. Well, you need to be looking out for us. That is not my job as a business owner to be looking out for an independent contractor. Stop acting like you're a W 2 and act like a business owner. Stop looking for somebody to always fight for you, to stand up for you, stand up for yourself, fight for yourself. You'll be pleasantly surprised at the results. And every time I've stood up for myself, I've learned a lot, I've gained a lot, and guess what? I've won a lot. And it was hard. It was not easy. It didn't make me popular with people. I just come from a standpoint of let's look at this logically and let's look at the end game. Because if the goal is to get notaries in a better position, how do we go about doing that without destroying stuff and hurting other people? And if the thing is we don't give a flying flip about hurting other people, okay, cool. But what about the people you have in there? They might care about now. You see what I'm saying? So what's the end game? That's why I said earlier, doing 3 minute shorts doesn't give anybody the full plan. You can't go in a court of law and say, okay, I got this 3 minute short that's going to tell you my art. No, 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 no. Let's have this conversation. Articulate yourself. Give me your points. Give me your counterpoints. Give me your counterpoints. Not, hey, I don't like what they're doing. I think they're getting over on us. Yeah, let's get them. Judge is gonna be like, okay, what are y'all doing? We don't like that. We think they're getting over on us. Okay, sure. Well, here's this 3 minute. Nah, your argument's gonna have to be a little bit longer than 3 minutes. And you need an attorney. Well, we don't have no money for an attorney. This is what we're doing. And we're spending more time trying to fight something. And I'm not saying that things shouldn't be better, but there's a way to do it. And we're trying to fight in a manner that can cause us to miss out on opportunities to make money. So, how long is it going to take to do this fight? And how are you going to make money in the interim? When they did the Montgomery bus boycott, when they did the sit-ins, when people talking about don't go to work, and I'm not talking about the TSA because they're not getting paycheck, but like you just don't like something, somebody's paying you, but I don't like the working conditions. Okay, so what are you going to do to pay your bills in the interim? Your organization has to be able to fund you. See, that's the thing about the Teamsters and the UPS union. What do? They got dues that have been paid so that if we do go on strike, we'll be able to pay people. Each person who is put in will get X amount out. You will get something out from the money that you put in. So what do you have that if we're going to join this thing and we go up against them and they stop giving us work, what are we going to do? And then here's the question: the people who are in this association, are you in the notary business as a hobby or full time? That's why I asked y'all to look at that video. And let me pull it up and we're going to close out here real quick. That's why I asked y'all to look at that video um, from my man Orlando Minor.
Business. Running a business.
Hold on. Where is it? Hold on. It said the individual I see on the tangent is very self-promoting and not factual, but she falsely thinks otherwise. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So This here, Orlando Minor. I'll give you his YouTube channel here in the chat. Entrepreneurs give up. That's the video you need to go look at. Entrepreneurs give up. Go look at that in his video list on his homepage. Go look at that because it's almost like listening to myself. The stuff that he's saying in there is the same things that I've been telling y'all as to what you need to be careful of. Everything, all the way to how these content creators, these gurus get you psyched up and quitting your job. And then when you get stuck, they're like, oh, come over here, I got another course for you. They always got something else to sell you. Always. And that's a problem. That is a huge, huge problem. So you're not getting anywhere with some of these people. And people got the wrong perspective. So when you get a chance to look at that video, I'm telling you, you're going to understand it. I really want all of us to do good in this business. I believe we can, but you're going to have to get your emotions in check, and you're going to have to stop thinking that people owe you, and realize being a business owner is about you going out there and providing a good or service to receive some type of compensation. And is the good or service that you're providing worthy of compensation? And I know y'all going to look at it different. Well, I spent all this money. I did this. I got that. I got it. But it depends on how they look at it. And if you don't like the way somebody looks at you and what you do, then you go find something else to do. You go find another entity to work with. Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to work with cloud signers no more. I'm telling y'all right now, to deal with cloud signers, get your legal team together and submit a letter of non-payment, an official letter of non-payment from your attorney. And if they won't pay you, you submit it again, and however many times based off of the state that you're in as well as theirs. And then you go and make sure that you file the necessary legal action against them. It's that simple. Calling them out on Facebook and all this, that, and the other. Okay, that's nice. Okay, you can do that. But the judge forces the payment. The judge, you really can't make it up. They will fall in the last thing they pitch you, but then I don't even shiny. Yeah, that shiny churning object. I'm telling you, thanks for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. I just want y'all to do good because y'all came in this business expecting to make money and to have an opportunity to be your own boss and all of that. And every time you turn around, when you look at this business, every 3 to 4 months, somebody is complaining about something that that someone else complained about 3 or 4 months prior. Man, they paying us, man. Man, this is wrong. Okay, we just talked about that 3, 4 months ago. And now you get into business and you realize that it ain't what but you listen to, and if you look at the pattern, they're listening to the same people spewing the same false hope. And then they come to the realization after about 3 months in the business, and now they're like, okay, I got an idea. This is how we're gonna do it. We need to make them. No, 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 no. There's a way to go about doing it. You're right. We have to block out the noise. That's why I keep telling y'all, you got to ask these people, prove yourself to me. Prove your point. What is your point? What's the end game? How do I make money doing this transition from the NNA to your thing? I don't care how many entities people set up, merch, all of that. I'm not buying anybody's shirt. That costing me money. The first thing we do, okay, yeah, we got merch, we got hats, and we got this, and now you got everybody walking around with your little shirt on, with your hat on, and you making bank, But I'm telling them I'm not going to do these orders. I'm telling them I'm not going to be NNA certified. I'm telling them that I don't want to mess with them anymore. Where's my money coming from? Oh, the little bit of money I get, and I got to spend it on your merch. That's the, when you think about it, for certain unsavory people who are doing things to get over, that's the first thing they do is try to get you to buy products. That's the first thing they try to get you to do. That takes you that. So now you can bring, hey, and now they're using you as free advertising. You're paying them to advertise for them. I, I'm not wearing your Crocs, like having your license plate holder on my car. No. If the goal is getting me more money, why are you asking me to spend money on stuff? Let's get to the point of what? Getting them to pay us the money due. Once you get that done, then I'll think about buying your stuff. Prove to me that you can do what you say you're doing. And this is just thinking from a logical standpoint. This has nothing, this is not personal about I don't like this person or I don't like that person or their gender or whatever. There's none of that. This is about business. You're telling me to get involved in something that could negatively affect my business, especially when my business isn't being negatively affected. And if my business was, I can choose to no longer do business with that entity and go find somebody else to go do business with and make the money that I was making with them somewhere else. I had a client that I was getting $200 a closing on for over a year. And there was a conflict with one of their home buyers in that relationship because the home buyer was basically threatening me and being very disrespectful. And I stood up for myself and they didn't like that. They were like, no, nah, and they stopped using me. So that was $200 gone. 6 months later, I get a new direct client. Didn't even market to them. Out of nowhere, hey, can you do this? Yeah. Can you do this? Yeah. Hey, I'm Earl. You've been working with Samantha, right? Yeah. Well, can you do this for me? And then another one, and another one. And now I got like 9 different escrow officers or whatever, I don't know, processors or schedulers that call me and hey, we need this. Hey, look, something came up. We need somebody today. No problem. And they know my fee and I get paid. 2 of the checks right here today. 150, 200. 150, 200. I lost one and picked up another. And that company who dropped me through the signing companies, I still do closings for them. I don't do it direct anymore, but I do it via the signing companies. So I'm still making money off of them. I just don't mess with that particular branch that because of their bull jive. But other people in there, they know, hey, we don't care what your disagreement with them is. We need you. And I do them and get them done. I don't make as much. That's okay. But I'm still doing them. I'm still doing them. And that's the beauty of it. So that's, he says, I'm getting business calls. I call out and call out the BS and I'm not doing long call. Okay, you get, yeah, I'm getting business because I called them out and I called out the BS, but I'm not doing, right. You're not doing, I, I don't care what you do, what people do loan closes or not. Do whatever puts money in your pocket. All I'm saying is when it comes to the whole concept of notary pay, taking legal action, shutting down the NNA, you got to make sure your stuff is right and exact. And the person who you following, they got to be on point. Because to be honest, y'all know of me, but y'all don't know me. Y'all really don't know me. So if I'm going to lead y'all somewhere, you have every right to question me, to analyze what I'm doing, analyze what I'm saying. I have a responsibility to report to you and to have more than just snippet conversations with you on social media. I need to have some kind of face-to-face or Zoom long form conversations with you. And I still say there needs to be attorneys involved. If you're not going to get attorneys involved, if there's not going to be some type of legal agreements involved, I won't be a part of it. I need something that's going to hold you accountable. Just like you talking about holding them accountable, how do we hold you accountable? Just because you being held accountable is not, let me see you hold them accountable. So by you claiming to hold somebody accountable, that's going to be my contract. No, I want it in writing. Because everybody want to talk about putting everybody else on the contract, but they don't want to be on the contract. I need some assurances from you because I don't know you. I know of you, but I don't know you from that perspective. And even if you're friends with a person, you don't know them from the business side of the house. So I need some assurances that I'm not going to get taken to the cleaners. It's that simple. And what's so wrong with that? Oh, but you don't trust me? No, I don't. Oh, but you don't believe in me? Not at the moment. Why should I believe in you? Why should I trust you? Hmm? That's the question. How do I know you ain't gonna turn on me? Do I have a right to say no in this whole thing? Do I have a right to be in opposition of what you're trying to do? Do I have a right to say, hey, let's not do it the way you, let's come up with a different way of doing it? And will you accept it? Or is it your way or no way? See, all of these are things that y'all got to think. See, when you get out of your emotions, you can start thinking clear. But when you in your emotions about what somebody ain't doing for you, that's where you get into the key to car mentality. You know what I'm talking about? Where you take your keys and you scratch somebody's car because they done did something to you. That's a I'm gonna show up at your job mentality. I have that a little bit in me. I get it. But from a business standpoint, there's a way to go about doing this. And since I'm an independent business owner, is what you're telling me to do going to hurt my business? And now I need to go talk to my spouse about it. Go talk to a business owner that you know and trust and that you believe that they have a good track record. And talk to them about the issues and about the approach and see what they say. Talk, you got Legal Shield, call the attorney up. Talk to your Legal Shield attorney and ask them what's the best way to approach this. Because it's clear these other people aren't doing that. Because they ain't nobody, I ain't heard nobody in the last 3 months say, oh, here's what an attorney told me. And I would love to hear, and not just I want to hear them tell me regurgitate with the current. I want the attorney on camera saying, here's how you deal with this. This is where it's wrong. I want the attorney to tell me. And I want to be able to ask the attorney questions. Because if you want my time and effort and money, then I have a right to investigate this. I have a right to inquire. I have a right to question and to ensure that I ain't getting screwed over. It's just that simple, people. All right, y'all, let me get on up out of here. If attorneys aren't involved, then what are we doing? Correct. Oh my goodness. Y'all won't even get a divorce. You can't, you don't go, you you want child support. Y'all know, I'm putting them on child support. Nah, babe, look here. Girl, look, let work this little thing out on the side here. All right. I ain't look, come on. Come on. Let's work this thing out on the side. Nope. My attorney said, nope, I can't talk to you. No, get out of my house. Don't. Why are you here, Raekwon? Raekwon, why are you here? Earl. Why are you here? You need to go back to the farm and keep milking them cows so you can make some money to pay for your kids. No, I ain't talking to you. Talk to my attorney. We say that all the daggone time in other aspects of our life. Oh, you get in a car accident, talk to my attorney. Somebody touched your child, talk to my attorney. We gonna go up against the NNA. Okay, sure, let's go. Let's do it. You talk for us there, please. Where's the attorney? Oh, we don't need no attorney. I can do it. Oh, you can. Oh, yeah, I can do it because I read some stuff last night. I got too much to lose. And how do I convince my wife? She wakes up in the morning. Hey, babe, I'm going after the NNA. For what? I don't know, but I ain't getting paid the way I think I should. And how does the NNA is involved with you getting paid? I just know I need to get paid, and I'm going after the NNA. Let me tell you something. That person got upset with me because I didn't return their call or text. It hadn't even been 48 hours. Left me a nasty message. Oh my goodness. See, you just talked about the dirty hidden secret that I've seen out here these whole 7 years I've been in this business. There are individuals out here, men and women, black and white, young and old, that if you don't operate exactly the way they want you to operate, they'll go off on you. When you start requiring accountability from them, you start questioning them and their background credentials, they will be ready to go off on you. They will use, if a man says something to about questioning something that a woman is doing, she will say, oh, you're attacking me because I'm a woman. Ain't got nothing to do with you about a woman. You are a human being that opened your mouth and said some things. I'm a human being that listened to those things and don't agree with them and have some questions about them. Or I may be confused about them, so I'm questioning them. And therefore, since I'm pushing back, you're saying because the person who's pushing back is a man and the person who's getting pushed back on is a woman, that has something to do with that. No, it has everything to do with the stuff that you said. And I'd be honest with you, there are a lot of men in this business, they don't want that smoke. They don't want to confront, they don't want to say, they don't always agree with the stuff that's being said out here. They just not gonna say anything. And what they do, they just put their head down and just go make their money. But you brought up something here. There are people that will go off on you. They will go off on you if you don't perform the way they want. If you start questioning them, if you start just inquiring, just trying to get clarification and just won't blindly follow them. I'm not going to say that's the hallmark of a grifter or a scammer, but what I'm saying is it makes you say, makes you want to think, like Arsenio Hall says, make you kind of go, What I know is this, and I learned this from Creflo Dollar, and this has nothing to do about religion per se, but it's just a common sense thing that he taught. He said, anger is a mask for fear. When somebody think they got you, and then you start breaking loose and you start inquiring and start asking questions, that tells them, okay, I don't have you. And they get fearful that they're not going to be able to contain you and hold on to you. So they get angry. And they use anger as a way to cause you to shrink and to force you to into obedience. It's no different than, and then it's worse. And I'm just gonna be upfront. I see this happening in this industry with the women toward women a lot. I see it happening the women toward the women a lot. A lot of put downs, a lot of making you feel less than if you don't with what they're saying and doing. And I know it's dangerous for me to say that because nobody's going to come like, hey, yeah. You're like, where is it? I know some of you may not be seeing that. If you're an independent person, you don't kick it with it. But there's some of y'all just like, oh no, oh yeah, that person be going off on you. They be going off. And all I did was just ask them, hey, I'm not gonna be able to attend that class. Can I get a refund? What do you mean a refund? No, I ain't giving you no refund. They be going off. Don't you dare ask for a refund on anything they do. Oh. I'm just saying, don't you dare ask for a refund. They will cuss you out, your mama out, and anybody else in your family, your unborn child, everything. This is what's going on in this business. People don't want to talk about it. They want to throw everything is perfect. We're all family. No, no, no. There are people out here who carry buses in their back pocket and they pop them out and throw you right and throw and put you right on it. They want obedience and they use fear. They use all type of intimidation tactics. They make you feel less than. They make you feel like you are not accomplishing anything because you don't have direct clients. Because the direct clients you have aren't paying you this fee. How dare you take that? How dare you? How dare you? I mean, they spend more time making you feel bad about the little bit of effort that you put into trying to grow your business. And they're saying what you're doing is just a bunch of bull. And how dare you do that? That's why you need to pay me this money to be your mentor so I can get you to the next level. And people don't like this kind of talk, but this is what's going on. That's the kind of behavior that requires a therapist. They said, yeah. And in my opinion, some of these people are not stable in their emotional state because they got other stuff that's going on in their life that they're trying to compensate for. They got anger issues or just issues against other things going on in their life. They don't like this, they don't like that, and they're constantly fighting against something. And they want you to fight against it too. And it's like, I don't need to fight that. All of that energy can be used to improve their business. That is true. And what they're doing, in my opinion, is using that energy to get you to focus on something that they say is important so that they can somehow get some kind of compensation for that. Thank you very much, man, for gifting those memberships. Really appreciate it. And people have been using them and and all of that. And I gotta send out. I will channel members. I'm going to send out tomorrow evening. We'll get together. I've been so busy. I forgot to send out the Zoom thing. So I would do it tonight before I go to bed. And we'll get together. So anybody that's a channel member, like if you want to be, just click the join button, sign up for any level that you want. And tomorrow night we'll get together and just chop it up and talk about whatever you want to talk about and everything. So let me just close out with this here. Again, I appreciate y'all. I'm not opposed to things being better, but I'm a proponent for things being done right so that there aren't a whole bunch of um, bodies left and bridges burnt, and because sometimes depending on how you approach it can do more harm than good. And not everybody is built for this kind of fight. I'm not saying that something shouldn't be done, but there's a way to do it. And for something on this scale, I truly think legal representation should be in there to educate us, guide us, so that we aren't putting ourselves at risk. But I think a lot of this could be solved if we just have a simple conversation with the entities that we're upset with. Just take time out, have proper representation, set up a meeting and have a talk and have some talking points. But at the same time, and I meant to say this earlier, and thank y'all 32 people who hanging in here still. We as notaries got to come right and exact, and we have to come addressing the issues that they may have with us, or be willing to address those issues and take their feedback and say, well, we would love to pay y'all more, but y'all keep making mistakes. Y'all keep messing this up and messing that up. And if we find trainers out there who are teaching us stuff that is completely outside of the scope of what our rules are, we need to ban them. We need to get rid of them. We need to have them stop. Because now, if you do a survey and find out all the notaries who are messing documents up and messing closings up and things of that nature, what training did they take? What Facebook groups are they a part of? What kind of posts are they listening to and following? Because if you're going to get that, if you're going to do this, we got to get deep, because there's a reason why people are messing stuff up. Why are you messing stuff up? You're messing stuff up because of what? Because there's a lady out there now, I was recently told, that is actually talking about how she goes and signs all her documents and stamps them before she goes to the closing. So now, where did she hear that from? Where did she get that from? Was it a trainer? Maybe, maybe not. Was it a mentor? Was it a coach? Was it just some random stuff she figured out on her own? Or did she hear about it in a Facebook group? But there are people doing it and then putting it on YouTube teaching that kind of stuff. So now you're a $1 billion company. You happen to see this on YouTube. Yeah, this and that. And then you got notaries doing that. And then they call and say, hey, how's everything? Hey, when the guy did the notary have everything already signed and stamped before you got there? Oh, yeah, they did. Hmm. Okay, thank you. That ain't what we're supposed to be doing. But notaries are doing it. So you got people being taught to do stuff that is wrong. And then you go and do closings for a $1 billion company, a multi-million-dollar company. They're going to be upset. Oh, I don't do the oath. Oh, I don't record them in the law book. I don't take pictures of the driver's license. I don't. There's all this stuff you don't do. Well, what do you do? I cash the checks that they pay me. But ain't nobody gonna pay your hind parts for screwing stuff up. Well, see, that's why we need to go after them. Well, why don't you do your job right? Well, you won't pay me enough to do my job right. So I don't pay you enough. You won't do your job right with what I'm paying you, but you want me to pay you more and you ain't doing your job right. That don't make no sense. So if anybody out there who talks about all this, I'll we can have a conversation here. I want to know the plan. The people want to know the plan. I want the attorneys to come on, talk to me, and show me how we're gonna do this. It's time out for talk. If a class action needs to be filed, then hey, let's do it. But just know that once we file it, ain't nobody gonna be doing no work. Why would they get? They not. Most people who file class action lawsuits tend to depart from the people they filed against. So if you file it against, see, if you file it against, let's just say Carrington Mortgage, you file it against Carrington Mortgage, and then turn around and realize that the title company that you do direct work with does it for Carrington Mortgage. So now Carrington like, don't use them. Well, I'm good with the title company. Well, if that title company don't use you for Carrington, they're probably not going to use you for nothing else. So see, this is what you got to look at. The big picture. When I filed that suit, should I still be working for them and getting money from them? Because if I'm having a problem with them and I'm going to file a lawsuit against them, why am I still doing work for them? Because I said I don't like the way they operate, but yet I'm still making money and taking money from them. Conflict of interest. Your suit isn't deemed serious because you said they're doing you wrong, but you're still working with them. If they were doing you so wrong, why are you still doing business with them? So now where do you get your business from? Where you get your business from? And then the attorneys who you doing stuff for, they find out that you filed a lawsuit. Oh, nah, we ain't gonna mess with you. So now, after you get the lawsuit done, who's gonna want to work with you? Because the judge can't make them work with you. They can. So that means you doing it so you can get some kind of settlement out of them. So is that the grift? Is that the plan? To do all of this so somebody can get some kind of settlement? All right. I always tell the signers I never want to be the reason to sign. That is correct. That is correct. Well, thank y'all very, very much for everything. I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, real quick, tell me and I'll be glad to chop it up. And I know people gotta bounce out of here. They tired of hearing me run my mouth and everything. But tonight we covered notary pay. We talked about taking legal action and we talked about shutting down the NNA. I just think it's high time we just basically run our business. Just run your business. Just run your business. If you need help, I'm here to help. Do whatever I can to help you in your business. Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. Okay, cool. Do whatever you can. I'll do whatever I can to help you in your business. Be glad to talk to you. All of that. There's a link in the description. You can set up a 30-minute session for me. But we just got to start thinking outside the box and stop being emotional. We are emotional creatures, but at the same time, when it comes to business, okay, let's think of this practical. When you get a divorce, hopefully you're not. Heck, when you just break up, when you're trying to get child support, you think logically, not emotionally. You get in the court, ma'am, calm down. Now let's state the facts. Got it. Sir, you owe her $300 extra a month. State the facts. Ma'am, you're not spending the child support money correctly. We're going to appoint somebody to ensure that the money that he's giving is being spent on the child and not you going on trips every month. Business. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that was a heck of a fight. 6 months I had to fight for that. But I won in the end. I won in the end. And so many people didn't want to fight with me. I said, no problem. No problem. I'll fight for myself. Because this is affecting me. And I won. And I became a better man for it. Because I learned some things. I learned how to fight for myself. And I learned that that when you stand up and fight for yourself properly, there will always be somebody that'll come alongside and help you fight. And the guy who helped me out was a white guy. I would have never guessed it, because the black guy that I talked to for help, he was like, I ain't helping you. He was like, mm-mm. He said, no, my job is to help the captain out. But I'm like, man, can you at least point me in the right? Can't tell you nothing. Talked to this other guy who I didn't think would help me, but I just stepped out on faith. And he was like, oh, no problem. Let me see what you got. Oh, yeah, this is wrong. Here's what you do. And it worked. And I went back and told him and thanked him. And he said, hey, I'm glad it worked out. He said, you have a good life because I was getting out the military. He said, man, you have a good life and do your thing. To this day, I purposefully allowed myself to not remember his name or even what he looks like. But I'm very thankful for that man stepping in there and helping me out. And it's all because I stood up for myself and I did it the right way. And I didn't go bashing people. I didn't go threatening or any of that. I just stated the facts. Every time they questioned me, I stated the facts. And I got out of my emotions and I stated the facts. And yes, it was a very real possibility that I wasn't going to get anything back. But I stood my ground and I stuck in there and I stated the facts and I won. And that same thing can happen here if there are real facts to state. But you got to have legal representation in the story. All right. Y'all have a good one. Thank y'all very much for everything. I greatly appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all later. Peace.